Let's chat about the state capture inquiry. Now global banks, HSBC, Standard Chartered and Bank of Baroda are complicit in state capture. That's the word from Lord Peter Hain, who says they're guilty of helping the controversial Gupta family to move funds. He testified at the state capture inquiry today. Hain says South Africa needs to do more to fight state capture and corruption. He says the country has adequate laws, but their enforcement is weak.
I recommend the proper utilisation of existing legislation. South Africa does have, for example, good legislation in the Prevention of Combating Corrupt Activities Act 2004 and the Financial Intelligence Act 2001. Nevertheless, we've had this whole picture of rampant criminality and state capture. So it needs to be properly enforced. There need also to be additional measures to hold public officials to account for misusing information gathered during an investigation, because there needs to be a much higher standard of accountability. And I mention public officials here because they should be held criminally liable for misusing information gathered during an anti-corruption legislation. We've seen this over recent years, I'm afraid. And although such behaviour is criminalised in South Africa, and on a statutory basis, the fact that there's been no prosecution of the misuse of information, I think is probably more to do, though that's a matter for the Commission, with the hollowing out or the dysfunctionality of South African law enforcement authorities following state capture than it is necessarily to do with, as it were, the letter of the law. So I'm underlining the point that it's not enough simply to place on statute the necessary legislation. What you have to do is follow that up with proper enforcement and holding public officials in particular to account. And then I recommend as well the implementation of additional measures to recover the proceeds of crime.